They're selling postcards of the hanging. They're painting the passports brown. The beauty parlors filled with sailors. The circus is in town. Here come the blind commissioner. They've got him in a trunk. One hand is tied to the tightrope walker, the other is in his pants. And the riot squad, the restless, they need somewhere to go. Lady, out tonight from Desolation Row. Dr. Filthy keeps his world inside of a leather cup, and all his sexless patients, they are trying to blow him up. Midnight, some local loser is in charge of the cyanide hose, and also reads their cards that live, have mercy on his soul. They all play on the penny whistle, you can't hear them blow. If you leave your head out far enough from Desolation Row. The medical profession. I didn't know what verse was going to come out, but Dr. Filth and his cap. Okay, we'll have a look at this. Okay, well, I watched the video back and I see I'm wearing my the wrong hat, because I'd just been to the shop to get the milk, and so I was in my incognito hat. I don't want to go running out there doing prophetic and philosophical tasks. So this is the hat of the philosopher and prophet, I suppose. And my general working hat when I do videos and things like that. And it talks about here in the song, because the song, I don't know what words I'm going to sing before I sing them. And so this is this verse about Dr. Filth, because it's a medical profession that is so filthy with all the poisons that they are putting into everybody now. And I want to say that I don't actually use the National Health Service, and I don't use doctors and that, unless I really have to. Now, the part that I really have to is the important part, because when I first started this thinking that you shouldn't be supporting this medical system based on drugs and all the rest of it, I completely blacked the whole thing, and I hadn't really thought about it in too much detail. I thought, you don't need this thing. I was going around telling people that you don't need this thing, this medical profession. And I went to a party on Desolation Row. Everybody's drinking alcohol except me, and I had a terrible thing, medical emergency happened to me, which I'll tell you about. And in this, because I was teaching the wrong stuff to the people, I had to come to meet the nurse, all right? And the nurse is a rather wonderful thing. So as you can see, I haven't started the colour in yet, because we haven't started the card yet. We're about to start the nurse card. So what the nurse is an angel that sent to you So I can't help myself. It's a very emotional thing to meet the nurse and think about the nurse, because the nurse is sent from God to help you, to stop you from dying, because God doesn't want to see you at this moment. You still have work to do, all right? And so the nurse is sent by God. She's part of the God system, God's holy Catholic Church here in the world, the whole universal church, not the one that makes all the brick buildings and everything, the real one that appoints everybody who's ever appointed to be part of the church, and appoints the 144,000 that get out of here at the end of every end time. Now 144,000 is just a kind of, it's 12 12s, isn't it? You know, it means the group of groups. That's what 144,000 means. It's not an absolute number. 12 groups of 12. Yeah. And there's always a 13th. But the nurse is part of these groups, because the real nurse has to be on the Great Way. She's got a position on the Great Way. Her job is to, the same as all the workers in God's church, those who have given up scrambling in the material world and are now doing God's business, okay, which is to help the poor, the sick, the needy and the oppressed. And the nurse is there for all of them. Because when they fall into her hands, they fall into her psychological, spiritual, physical, emotional care, really. They're damaged and they need help. Okay. So we all light a candle, and in this moment think thanks. Thank the Lord for the nurse. A very tall candle indeed. I'm not going to speak long on this subject because you all know what the nurse is. And I probably don't need to colour it in. I can do. And perhaps it's best without any colour. We'll see. It's time to stop. Well, it's always surprising what comes to me whilst I'm doing this stuff. Okay, we coloured the nurse card in. It was time to do that. You see, there's a pool of blood here, and there's a few different colours involved here. There's the darkness, and there's the blood, the red, and then the orange is the colour of power, full power. You'll notice that very powerful, strong racing cars and special cars that are especially built strong in the automotive sector are orange. Orange engines are very reliable engines. Blue engines, a bit weak, you know, mediocre. Okay. A few colours to go along with this. Now, there's also the numbers, of course. We need to be studying the colours and the numbers. And the numbers of the videos that I'm making are interesting. We talked about the group and the group of groups. It's the first time I've ever understood that. Yeah, I'm learning stuff all the time. I had to saw 144,000, see what we're dealing with, and I think, oh yeah, well, that's 12 times 12. There's 12 groups. And the grouping consists of 12, you know, like the 12 disciples and all that. So, and the number of the group is, there's two different numbers of the group. There's 13, which is the group and the leadership of the group. And then there's 30, which is also the number of the group according to the level as we move up the great chain of being. So we've got kind of like a great chain of responsibility. In the group responsibility, there's individual responsibility, couple responsibility, and the next level after that is group responsibility. So it goes 10, that's mastery of the individual, 20, that's mastery of the couple, and 30, that's mastery of the group. Okay. And there's 40 and 50 and 60. Won't go into that. As we move to higher levels of nationality and planetary. Okay. And so when I came to make this very first video when I played the song, okay, that video came out as number 30. It's just awarded by the camera depending on how many videos I make, so it's completely under the control of nature what that number is, because as I make videos, start and stop them, so if I make more videos then it'll be a different number. If I turn the camera off, turn it on again, that's the numbers going up. So the numbers are all coordinated, if you like, with the events that are happening in the world. And so 30, I knew when I saw it, I saw this 30, it's telling me something. And because I'm observant, I can see, I need to talk about, there's a group understanding here with, as far as the nurse goes. Because if you think about it, you don't need the group much until you need the nurse. Okay, so the nurse is the kind of proof, if you like, that you need the group. The group is essential because if you've got no door to knock on to get access to the nurse, and you need the nurse, well, you're finished, yeah? And unfortunately, the dentist is not quite as accessible as the nurse. And I've had times when I've had an emergency, dental emergency, and it's not been possible to access a dentist, and I've had to get in the mirror with a pair of pliers and do it myself, okay? And normally you wouldn't do that. It's not the nurse's job to deal with the dental, that's the man's job, okay? What you'd normally do is you go to the head man of the village, and you go, oh, somebody help me, and the head man of the village get like 3 or 4 big guys, right? And they'd hold you down, and they'd pull your tooth out. That's what was required. And it wouldn't be that a hugely difficult job, because by the time you were saying to them, well, I've got to get rid of it, it would be ready to come out. Yeah. And so the opposite of the nurse, if you like, if you want to look for opposites in terms of the medical profession and the male and the female thing, the nurse is always a female and the dentist is always a male. Okay. And you'll know why that is if you've ever been to a female dentist. You don't want to go to a female dentist. And you don't want to go to a male nurse. It's funny because a male nurse is very gentle and, a female nurse is very gentle and very, I said male nurse. Some males are females. And so it's okay for female male types to become nurses, yeah. And some females are males, yeah. And so you can end up getting a female male dentist. You don't want that. I had to have one once just so I could tell you the story, otherwise I wouldn't know it, yeah. Only once in my life I went to a female dentist, and I will never go to another female dentist. If I go to a dentist and there's a female about to sort of open my mouth, I say, I'm out of here. I'm not going through that again. It happened to me in Germany. Forget it. I'll say, forget about it. Yeah. Okay. So, the nurse needs to be a lady, and she's a powerful lady because she can deal with anything. She can deal with the sexual matters which are private and all sorts of very embarrassing things for normal people. She can just deal with that. She can deal with the blood, you know. She can deal with the lack of limbs. How they do it, I have no idea. No idea at all. they can do all these things. They can fix you up. And I had to have cancer cut out of my shoulder here, and it was done by a lady, and they did a good job. Except they were directed what to do by the male aspect of the bad medical profession, so it wasn't a perfect job, but it was as good as they could do under the circumstances. I'll tell you about my first meeting of the nurse, because this was it was a nice experience. Okay. And what happened was I was at this party, and I'd been playing guitar, and I'd hit, when you play guitar, if you strum with your fingers like I do, I don't use a pick. This part of your finger here, above the nail, it's got a name, I can't remember what it is. It's a cuticle, I think it is. You can catch it on a guitar string, and you can damage it, And if you damage this area, it's very difficult area when once damaged. And I got an infection from this damaged part, and it just suddenly flared up. I don't know whether it happened at the party or whether it happened some time before, and it just chose that time to come out. And so I just started to feel really, really, really bad. It's like I had to, you come to a point where if you're so sick, you just have to lie down. There's nothing you can do. So I just said to the people, I said to the woman who had the party, I said, "Oh, I've got to go and lie down." I just had to do it immediately. And I went, she took me out of into one of the bedrooms and put me on the bed. And I just lay down. I just had to lay in misery. It wasn't pain. It was misery. I knew there was something really, really, really badly wrong with me. And I had this sore finger. And then I left out, so tried to sleep, and then I woke a bit later, and I feel my whole arm sort of inflamed like this, and I looked at my arm, and there was like red all up here, up the arm like this. I thought, no, this is going to kill me. The thoughts came to me, you've got to go to the hospital. This is the last place I wanted to go. I don't want to be to the hospital, but in this moment, I just knew it. And they put me in the car and took me to the hospital, and I was in a state, I could hardly cope with it, and it got me into the hands of a nurse, and this nurse came into the room, put me in a room, and this nurse came in, and it was like meeting God the Mother. It was just like amazing. She just looked me in the eyes, and I just knew that I had my life was in good hands. And I just let her do whatever she needed to do, and she had to inject me with some stuff and that. And after a few hours at the hospital, they sent me into another room to cool off, and he came and looked at me, took my temperature a few times, and said, "No, you can go, you're all right now." Well, I was going to die, but I hadn't gone to the hospital. She saved my life for sure, And so in this moment I realised what I'd been doing. I'd been talking about how bad the medical system, not to use it. And I knew then my teaching was wrong, and that I should use it. And it's funny, because the cancer thing, I was also learning another lesson, that the only reason I got the cancer was because, you see, with this one, with the finger problem, it was like a poisoning, blood poisoning. I was poisoning the blood, which is the spiritual teachings. With my teachings, I was poisoning the social fabric of the group, okay? And so that's what it meant, That's the lesson that I was learning, not to do that. That was with words I was poisoning with. Now, when I got the cancer, what I was doing there was, I was helping the dark side. That was the reason I got the cancer. You're not allowed to help the dark side. If you help the dark side just grows more strong and overtakes the body. It's like the cancer that grows in the body, the dark cells of dark humans. And these were some heroin addicts. And I met them on the street, and I had the idea maybe they weren't, so maybe they could be reformed. Maybe they were ready to stop doing what they were doing. And in fact, I didn't know whether they were still heroin addicts or not, but they were, And so I started to want to get the musical instruments and start to teach them how to play music so that they could help themselves get off the street by playing busking in the street. That's what I was trying to do. And it's not allowed. You're not supposed to help the dark side. And so by doing that, you're helping a cancer to grow in the society. And so this cancer started to grow on my shoulder, and I just knew that I had to go get dealt with. And it's the same story with the nurse. Okay, the blood and the cancer. Okay, two different issues there. Okay, I get the message. It's good. Take 5. Well, that's interesting. I stopped, and I think this video is number 33, and 33 is like the number of mastery, yeah, of coupleship really, and group, coupleship and group. 33, yeah. But when I went, see, I'm doing this with my ear. This is also a sign, right? So when I went to watch back the video, I put the headphones on, and if I wear the headphones too much, if there's a too strong a signal coming out of the camera, what can happen is it will distort a little bit, and then it will hurt my ear. And I've had, in this ear, I've had something in it. I was concerned about it, and so I went to the hearing people. That's actually here in England. It's done by the glasses. Same people do your glasses, do your hearing. And I look, he says, oh no, it's nothing. Because I was worried that there's was a cancer or something growing in my ear. There's something in there that's. And he said, no, it's nothing to worry about. Okay. And I thought maybe it's something to do with not listening. Yeah. And one thing I haven't been doing well is listen to my lady, yeah. She's like my nurse, if you like. If anything goes wrong with me, I have to ask her advice, yeah. I should be listening to her more. She told me to put propolis on something, and I didn't do it, yeah. And that was some time ago, months ago. And now I had to ask her again because I had another problem came up with me, another medical issue came up. And she said to me again, I said to her, do you think it's okay to put propolis on this? And she said, yeah, put some propolis on it. So this time I listened to her, yeah, and I put propolis on the affected area, and it's been getting better. So you've got to know that you need help, and you've got to listen also to the help that's coming your way. And so maybe I haven't been listening to my lady enough, and that's why I've got this thing slowly growing in my ear that that might be able to go away once I learn this lesson. Yeah. And so the reason I know this, because just before I started this video, as I'm thinking this to myself, the phone goes bing, and there's my lady sending me a message, yeah, telling me, because I asked her, what colour car, Elizabeth? Is this red one okay, or does it need to be this gold one over here? And the lady knows where everything is and what everything's supposed to be, yeah? And so it's better to confirm with her that it's the right model, yeah. And so she said, the gold one, not the red one. Gold, of course, is the colour of leadership. It's like gold is a higher form of orange, yeah. And red can be danger. Yet there's a certain burgundy coloured red which is also associated with royalty, and it can be a kind of an orangey red, yeah, which is super powerful red. Orange. it has an element of danger in it, because the same as anything, if you've got a powerful car, you have to be a bit more careful. You know, all Ferraris are red because you can crash and burn a Ferrari pretty easily. Okay, the Great Spirit says that's enough. I hope you have a hope in L. All of you that are watching these videos, if you got this far, I should imagine you need an open L knife for you to have hope in L. L is God. Okay. Thanks for watching. Oh, perhaps I end on another tune. I'm going to try it through the camera speaker. The other one I did through the big speaker, and I'll try it. Whoops. See, I hit my elbows on the corner of that because I can damage the guitar, which I don't want to do on this particular object here. There's not a lot of space here to do all this stuff. They're selling postcards of the hanging, painting the passports brown, beauty parlours filled with sailors, the circus is in town. Here come the blind commissioner, they've got him in a trance. One hand is tied to the tightrope walker, the other is in his pants. And the riot squad, they're restless, they need somewhere to go. As lady and I look out tonight from Desolation Row. Right, we need to do one more thing, which is pull the card out for the next video. So I'll put this one back, finish the nurse, and let's take another card. We're doing the cards by division and which one goes where. We're rejecting these. Our card is in this pack. The hands tell us which one we're keeping, which one we're throwing away. Okay. The place where we belong. That's our next video. If you subscribe to the channel, you'll get notification in your feed when this video goes up. Thanks for watching.